Hey guys, so in today's video, I thought that I would share some tips for giving allergy injections. If you see me looking over here, it is because I do have my phone propped up because I wrote down some notes that I wanted to make sure I included in this video. So the first thing that you want to do before giving the injection, I'm just going to get right into it, is verify the actual order. So ensure you're following the correct dosage, verify the patient, of course, and the allergy serum based on the provider instructions. I would also have another person, either another nurse or another medical assistant, make sure to verify the order with you. So the protocol that we followed at the clinic that I worked at was one person would check and then you'd have another person kind of co-check. To make sure that everything was at the right dosage, drawn up correctly, that it was going to be given in the correct arm, and et cetera, et cetera. So number two would be check for allergies. Ironically, some patients may have reactions to the injection itself. We did this, but most of the time it was because they had an allergy that they were getting these allergy injections. So you can still check for reactions and allergies, obviously. Step number three would be prepare the site. Common sites would include the upper arm, subcutaneous, or thigh. Clean with an alcohol wipe or swab and let it dry. So I will tell you that the clinic that I worked at, we only used the back of the upper arm. So it was put in at a 45-degree angle, subcutaneous injection, but we only used the upper back of the arm. Some people got 2 allergy shots in the same arm, so we would use the upper back and the lower back of the arm. Depending on if they were getting 3 allergy injections or more, then we would have to use the upper and the lower and then the other arm as well. So step number 4 would be to use the right technique. Allergy shots are usually given subcutaneously or sub-Q, meaning just under the skin at a 45-degree angle, like I just said. So during the injection, pinch the skin. This helps with accuracy and reduces discomfort. Now, the next step I will tell you is going to be dependent on the person. So the next step says inject slowly. This helps prevent pain and irritation. We did have a couple of patients at the clinic that I work at who preferred it to be injected quickly or as quickly as possible just to get it over with because they didn't like the feeling or it burned or something similar to that. So for whatever reason, this particular patient or patients preferred that it be injected quickly. So the next step would be withdraw the needle smoothly. Don't rub the site. I know some things you rub the site, like with vaccines and things like that, or medications. Some people like to rub the site. Don't do that because it can worsen any irritation that you might have caused. And you don't cover this with a Band-Aid either, because after they wait their required waiting period, you are going to have to check the injection site to see if there's any sort of reaction. So after the injection, the next step would be to monitor for reactions. Patients should wait 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your facility's protocol or the protocol that is required by their allergy doctor or immunologist, to check for allergic reactions, which is swelling, trouble breathing, rashes, redness, things of that nature. So what we did at the clinic that I work at is we had the patients wait in the waiting room for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, like I said, depending on the way that it was written by their allergy doctor. And then we would go and check on them. So as soon as we injected the allergy serum into the patient, we would set a timer for 20 or 30 minutes, however long that they needed to wait. And then once that timer goes off, we would then go out to the waiting room, get the patient, check the injection site, and then chart any reactions. The next step would be to document everything, which is the date, the time, the site, and any reaction if the patient has any. We would also like notate if there was no reaction at the site. So by the site, when we would chart, we would write, like we usually tended to switch between arms. So if the patient was only getting one allergy injection, they would do like one time it would be the left arm, then the next time it would be the right arm. If they were getting two sites, we would switch them, unless that particular patient only wanted this particular serum in this arm and this particular serum in that arm. We would switch between sites. So one time it would be serum number 1 in the left arm and serum number 2 in the right arm. Then the next time it would be serum number 2 in the left arm, serum number 1 in the right arm, if that makes sense. So, like I said, you would chart everything. You would chart which serum was given in which arm. And again, for those multiple injection people, you would have, like, say serum number 1 was in the upper back of the right arm. You would notate that. Serum number 2 was in the lower back of the right arm. You would notate that. Serum number 3 was given in the upper back of the left arm. So you would notate that. And then if there's any redness, any raised bumps, things like that, you would say how big the raised bump was, or that there was redness there, and you would notate that. Again, if there was no reaction, we would also note if there was no reaction. Sorry. You would also notate the time that you gave the injection and the fact that they waited for however long your waiting period is. So the last step in this process would be to educate the patient, let them know what to watch for at home, such as swelling or itching. And if it is a patient that has been coming to your clinic for a while to get allergy injections, it's still important that you educate them, because even though they've been getting these injections for a while, they might forget to notify their allergy doctor or come in to be checked for certain things. Just because they've been getting them for so long doesn't mean that they don't still need the education. So hopefully this helped. If you guys have any questions on allergy injections or any other medical task that a medical assistant is able to provide, let me know. If you guys have any questions or topics you'd like to hear me talk about, let me know that as well, and I will get something filmed for you. And with that being said, that is all for today's video, and I will talk to you guys in my next one.